I hope Alphabet Incorporated, who is part of the racketeers, defined in a very different way than the club of racketeers I had, which were supposed to be lifelong learners and those that appreciated learning about life skills. I'm talking about racketeers like racketeering, Trump and his racketeering folks, the big tech businesses. So I hope that Alphabet Incorporated doesn't kind of, while my music is playing softly, doesn't put a copyright on it, which I will again contest. The thing is, though, is I'm filming this video today to say that I'm signing a first petition. It's e-petition 6619. And they ask for email, which I do have. Maybe more people have. I do have a cell phone, but it was mandatory, and I don't always have a cell phone. So that means, again, my rights are violated by imposing domestication on me. Like if I lived in a motorhome, maybe I had an email, but I lived off the grid because I couldn't afford to live on the grid, as has often been the case and documented on my YouTube videos. I'm posting this on YouTube for today. I'm posting that I'm rewriting also my own e-petition from the one that was canceled before when the election was called, and I said, you rewrite it to the clerk of petitions when it reopens. Don't force me to do it, because in my e-petition I say I'm tired of the human rights violations of Canada towards me. So now I'm going to rewrite it and say that I am going to, it's an idea I recently saw in the news of what's happening in the States, is I'm going to give Canada the option to give me a public apology. And I'd like it to be in a video that, CBC will always have on their YouTube channel, for example. Or the House of Commons will never delete it if it's a video I can access there. It'd be nice to send me a copy of it. An apology for everything that I continue to go through living in Canada as the elusive Homo sapien among you domesticates, Homo communia, and say that's not okay. I'm not going to stop living by human standards because I worked really hard, and it was a lot of resources were spent in a lot of ways. When I say resources, to become the elusive Homo sapien, not being born in a developed culture, right? And I'm not just talking about Quebec, I'm talking about Canada, I'm talking about all the cultures of the world. I did my due diligence to self-actualize and undergo the human maturation process. Again, to have a good balance of different kinds of intelligence, not just in theory, but in practice, to role model my values, my beliefs, my ethics, not just to put them on a board in theory and say this is what it is. And more of the oppression, the shunning, the human rights violations, the crimes, including by paid officials against me, violating Canada's laws and policies sometimes just because they didn't like me. I'm going to give you guys some basic kindergarten logic 101. If you want to know if a person is kind, that person doesn't pick and choose who they're kind to. So if you want to claim Canada has these values that we stand by and we want to ally ourselves with people that have, again, you can't pick and choose how to apply these values among yourselves or among people in the international agreements that you are in. This is basic common sense that kids can pick up. It's a term I learned in my life skills coaching training and realized, wow, I never had teachers or programs at school or families or communities or programs where I learned life skills, which is basic interpersonal skills for social creatures. And you guys don't have them either. I see it in the interactions of the top leaders of the world. So I want Canada to either give me, in this new petition that I'm going to read in part 2, give me an apology publicly that I'll always be able to reference. It'll never be deleted. And I'll even show it to Norway, because I'll take Norway to court for returning me to Canada by violating their own rules. If I don't get the apology from Canada, then I'm going to sue Canada and keep piling all of this evidence that is already overwhelming for human rights violations and crimes against me, including by people that work in the field of human rights and of law enforcement and of, public service industries. So So this new one is going to say, please apologize. If you don't, I'm going to say I'm going to sue you. And all you had to do if you didn't want to get sued and have more and more of this information become public, because you won't employ a professor of sociocybernetics who's a culture peer, you won't do that. That's not fitting the norm of your values. My values is actually walking the talk of what you claim your values are. So we're very, very different people. You are the Homo communia. I am the elusive Homo sapien. Let's see what happens. Today is July 11th, 2025.